that's that. We are now officially starting descriptive statistics. So Unit 1 was kind of like the introduction of like what is statistics, how do you collect data, and now we're actually going to look at data and manipulate it with it. And I'd like to start off with an activity surrounding America's favorite pastime, the baseball.
No.
Has everybody been to a Red Wings game?
Yeah.
I like the Red. It's actually a lot of it's honestly out of like an activity you can do downtown, fairly reasonable, and especially like how much a concert ticket is these days. They have good food. Our stadium has probably some of the best food for AAA. This is Mickey and Spike, and then this is the Bat Dog. And he's there like 4 or 5 times during the season, and he collects the bats after people bat. It's very cute. I think his name is Blake, but it could be wrong. Blaze or Blake. But it is very cute. I love dogs. I love dogs. Okay. But then we can keep on going here. Da, da, da. Are you a Yankee fan? Or are you just like the hat? Just like the hat. Is anybody a Yankee fan? Woo! Got a Yankees. So right now, the Yankees are going to have to pay the Boston Red Sox. Right? So this is, while a lot of us are like in football season mode and school soccer mode and like all these other modes, the baseball season is still in play. They are doing this professional baseball, Major Baseball League. They are doing their postseason to the World Series. So this is just, has it started already? It starts tonight? Anybody know? It starts this week sometime. Okay. So we are going to go with a baseball theme to try to actually help you remember some things that you might already know about baseball and statistics. So one of the things about baseball game, there's lots of movies. We're going to eventually watch Moneyball because it's a great movie about baseball and it has some statistics in it. So that's like the prize at the end. At the end of the unit, we get to watch all of Moneyball. Yes. We are going to use clips from it for a couple of our lessons, which are nice. And then what we're going to do today is focus on the home run king. Who is the home run king? The person that's done the most total home runs. So this is as of, I think this top part is fairly accurate. Barry Bonds has the most. Babe Ruth is number 3. Those are the two we're going to compare today. And then we might debate, really, is Barry Bonds the home run king? So, and then we will do a cross comparison with Hank Aaron's in the end. Some really good historical figures in there as well. For civil rights. This is good. I keep on thinking that Parker's here. So I keep on putting paper down for them.
You guys
We'll see if
they're not the same thing.
Did I give you 3 to pass down? Can you take one pass down?
No, they're not.
One?
They're all different. They're all different.
What?
All 3 pages.
Oh, those ones are mine. I gave you my answer key.
For the answer.
Give me my answer key back. Sorry. Here you go. Have paper. I'm sorry. I handed out my answer key. I'm just going to that.
Yeah, I met a contact. I took screenshots.
Okay. All right. So here we go. We are going to compare Babe Ruth to Barry Bonds. Do you need one? Oh, I gave you my answer key too. See, I'm so good at giving people my answer key. What's the duty act? All right. Have you guys heard of both these players? Babe Ruth. Yeah, he's not the candy bar. And then we have Barry Bonds, who was a very famous player as well. All right. So let's just get into this and see who's who. What I think this is done. Well, baseball is a game of statistics. That was just like, do you see all the information here? It's crazy. Okay, we'll get back to that. All right. Let's read about our 2 friends here. Are you ready? Okay, Babe Ruth. George Herman Babe Ruth was an American professional baseball player whose career in Major League Baseball spanned 22 seasons. So here's some stats, 22 seasons from 1914 through 1935. So let's just kind of take a historical perspective here to 1935. Whoops, I said that wrong. What was happening in 1914 through 1918? Do you guys remember? World War I. Okay, very good. And then we had rolling 20s. And then in the 30s, we were dealing with the Great Depression. Somewhere in there was prohibition, right? Yeah. Um, and then, towards this was moving into World War II, the rise of fascism, etc. Okay, cool. Anyways, so baseball. So his baseball games were heard on radio, right? People would just tune into the radio to hear about his games. So he was a young left-handed pitcher with the Red Sox. And then he went to the Yankees. He was a power hitting outfielder, became an icon transcending the sport. Ruth became the first star of a world where virtually every citizen could share in a common media experience. So if we think about media at that time, radio and newspaper were the two things going on. So, when you think about the Titanic, that was was the Titanic 1913, I think? 1912? 1913. So, like, people learned about the Titanic in the newspaper, but there definitely were radio programs that were bringing in some of that information, but it certainly was not the speed or the visual that we now have today of so many different things. So then we move on to Barry Bonds. Barry Lamar Bonds is an American former professional baseball left fielder who also played 22 seasons. Okay, so there's something that's in common. This is when his things spanned. Okay, so Barry was a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates from 1986 to 1992. So historically, just so you know, I graduated high school in 1990. So there you go. I'm old. Anyways, and then the San Francisco Giants from 1993 to 2007. When were your kids born? God. I'm so young. You're so young. I'm so old. He is considered to be one of the greatest baseball players of all time. And of course, to be put in the Baseball Hall of Fame, there is a lot of status to that, just like there is any other Hall of Fame. All right, so we are going to compare their home run data. I'm trying to think, 19 to 2000. Yeah. Wow, okay. Do you guys know this? Like, if I put this down, Y2K. Have you guys ever heard of that? Y2K. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it was really kind of crazy. I remember New Year's Eve, 1999, and you go, oh my gosh, all the computers are going to crash because they didn't have the capacity of understanding a year being more than 2 digits. So they were worried that it was going to roll back to like the computers would just kind of like collapse on themselves. It was really a crazy time. But anyways, the guys got it fixed. Anyways, back to that. That was something that's while he was playing. He's got a great smile, doesn't he? Look at that smile. Happy guy. Yeah? Okay. So let's look at home run data. So now this is during their career when they were making home runs. So we take part of Babe Ruth's career. We're only looking at 14 years of it. How many pieces of data does that guy have? So let's count it up. How many different numbers do we have? 14? Is it 14 or is it 15? 15. I lied to you, I'm sorry. So N is a number that we use for quantity. How many of something? So if we say in a survey, we talk to 15 people, N would be equal to 15. All right, so now let's see how many pieces of data we have for Barry Bonds.
Oh, yeah, I counted this time.
You counted this time?
Yeah, not right.
We got 20. So even though they both played for 22 seasons, it's possible that maybe there was a designated hitter maybe for Babe Ruth before when he was on the other team. We're just not using his data. It's possible people were out for injury. You never know. So we have this data. It's disorganized. It's in a long list. It's not really easy to read. So one of the things that statisticians do is we organize data so it is easy to read and start to look for patterns. Okay? There's lots of ways to do this. One of the purest, or like the simplest way, is to make something called a stem and leaf plot. And you probably made them back in like six, maybe. Like we're going way back in the history here. The deal is they are not fun to make, but they are a way that data is displayed. And so we're just going to make a couple of them. Like that's not a focus, but it's a way to display data and get it organized. All right. So you're looking for the piece of graph paper that has like like the big grid, and there's a big grid at the top and a big grid at the bottom. Are you ready? Okay. So we're going to write the words stem and leaf plot. And I'm going to and we're going to actually use these top sections to kind of play around with the idea, and then the bottom section is going to display both of our dudes. We're going to start off with Babe Ruth. And so when we're looking at data, one of the easiest things to do is look for your lowest number and your highest number. So when we're looking at Babe, what is the lowest number that he has? 22. What is his highest number? 60. So 22 and 60. So stem and leaf plots rely on us having kind of like place values, and the leaves can only be like one place value. So the way that we're going to do it is we're going to think of each number being broken into two, where we have tens in one place and the leaves in the other. Okay. So just bear with me as I help you get things set up. So our lowest was 2, and our highest was 20s, and the highest was the 60s, right? So we're going to make a stem that goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is the tens place. And I'm going to put this line here to kind of take the stem and have it be separate from the leaves. All right. And now we're just going to start at the beginning of Babe's list. And so if you have these side by side, you can kind of see where I'm reading the numbers from. The first number is 54. So I'm going to go to the 50s and just put the ones place here, 4. This next number is 59. I go to the 50s. All I'm going to do is put the leaf as 9. So I can now read this 54, 59. So this is the tens place over here, and the ones are the leaves. Okay, so let's keep going in the list. Babe Ruth, next one is 35. So I go to the 30s, I put a 5. Okay, I go to the 40s, I put a 1. Now, can you guys take it from there? Okay. So if you look at your Babe Ruth numbers, the next number is 46, right? Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense where the numbers are coming from? Nobody's lost. Okay, let me catch up to you then. 41. And now we're going to organize. So once we have it like this, you're right. It doesn't make sense to have these like sixes all separated, right? You can start to see a pattern though. Does you have a lot in the 40s? Sure. Okay, so let's clean it up. We still want the same stem. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But now what we do to organize, and so now do you understand like why now we have to look at that data list again, right? Now we organize. So, and the way we organize is from the stem, we go least and then go out to greatest. Okay? They're all good. So here we go. The top said 5, 2. So do we want to say 5, 2 or 2, 5? 2, 5. So now we know the minimum is 22. The next highest one is 25, right? Go to the 30. And so just think of them as digits. I have a 5 and a 4. The lower one is 4, and now we have a 5. Okay? Just focus on doing the next one with us. So skip down to like where you go 2 through 6 from the bottom. Yep. So these are the tens place. So now let's look at our 40s because this is the one that's tough. So starting at the lowest, we've got ones. How many ones do we have? 2 of them. Keep looking. Now we have 6s and we have 3 of them. Good luck, good luck, good luck. Say 3 6s, 3 6s, and then a 7 and a 9. Okay, it's going to be okay. Oh yeah. All right, 4 4 9. Right, 4 4 9, and then this.
Very organized.
Okay, so now that it's organized, one, we're not looking at a big long line of numbers, are we? Right? It's kind of more compact. We can already see patterns with it. All right, so we're going to leave this one alone as it stands right now. And we're going to try the process from the beginning, right, Maddie, so we can get it right the first time. Okay. Everybody look at Barry Bond's data. You have to find the smallest piece. You have to find the largest piece. So when looking at Barry Bond, and he's got a longer list, what's his smallest piece of data? 5. So when we look at the number 5, in the tens place, tens are ones. The 1 is the 5, right? So the tens is, okay. Now what's its largest number? 73. So that means we need a stem that will go from 0 to 7. Okay. With me now? Okay. And what we can, I'll go slow. Here we go. We're back here. So now you're still up on this part of your paper, and about halfway over, you can just start up at the top and go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So even if you had nothing in the 50s or the 60s, you would still need those numbers there to represent the number line. Okay. Let me know when you're ready, Maddie. Same thing. Ethan, let me know when you're ready. Okay, so ready? We start at the very beginning of the list with the number 16, right? I'm going to the tens, and all I'm doing is putting a 6. I'm done with the 16. The next number is 25. I'm looking at my list of Barry Bonds data. So I'm going to put the 5 down because the 2 is already there. The next number is 24, so I put a 4 down. I am not worrying about organizing. I'm worrying about getting the data into. Then we go to 19. So I'm back to the tens. I just put a 9. I go to the 30, put a 3 leaf down. 25 again.
Yeah.
Okay. So the deal is that we want to compare these two guys, right? So we sometimes present stem and leaf data like this one down here. So it's organized. I'd have Babe Ruth's name on it. I'd have a key so people could read it correctly. But I could just present one stem and leaf at a time. But we can also do what's called a back-to-back stem and leaf. So now that we have some of this stuff ready to go, we're going to go down here and we're going to create our back-to-back stem and leaf. Okay. So let me just kind of help you set up your paper first, and then we will go ahead. So first thing we want to do is we'll put down what we're making. We're making a back-to-back stem and leaf. Okay. Now we have 2 players we want to display, and that means we need to make sure we put the longer stem to create as the stem in the middle, right? So we're going to have leaves on the left and leaves on the right, but our stem has to be very long stem. It goes from 0 to 7. So to make sure that we all have enough room, I'm going to start. Here's like the middle. I'm just going to go down here to the and put my 7 here and work my way up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So I left one block open at the top of that head. And I'm going to do this. And then people can see what I'm doing. Okay. And then I'm going to put a line on either side of my stem. All right. So we're going to use this side for Barry Bonds. So here's our title, Barry Bonds, HR, home run. And we have his kind of messed up data right up above. So the only thing we have to do when we try to go above to below is organize it. So I go back up to the top, and I'm like, okay, 5 is good, and 6 and 9 are good. So I can just transfer those down. 5, 6, then 9. But in the 20s, I need to make sure I organize it. So if you might have missed this part, Ethan, when we're out, we go from the smallest to the largest away from the step. So 4, 5, 5. It's okay if you do not get this perfect today. We are exploring and trying to do something that you see is middle, okay? Now in the 30s, we have a little bit more to deal with. Looks like we got 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 7s. Okay. And then we have nothing in the 50s, nothing in the 60s, and then we have a 3 down. Okay, so very positive stuff. Now this is the weird thing about stem. And remember, the idea is from the stem, it goes straight. So when we're doing the other side, it's working backwards. Well, so we've always worked from the stem out. So like when I look here and see that in the 20s, I have 22, 25. When I go down here, I have 22, 25. You see how the lowest number is next to the step? Okay, so we're reversing as we work through it. So if I go to the 30s, it's a 34, 35. 34 is closest, 35 is on the outside. Okay, so see if you can finish this side. And then we just need to now have the finishing touches on it. You're going to likely hear me say this phrase over and over and over again. I got to put a poster on the wall. Title, take, label, label, label. Okay. So when we're making displays of data, we want to make sure we have a title on them. If there's things that the axes or taking off the axes, we don't want to get and then label, label, label. And that could be axis labels, it could be maybe for something. We're making sure that all the parts of people understand what it is. So right now we have a title on this side, but we need this side to say Babe Ruth HR. And then the thing is if you understand baseball, you know you can't have a half of a home run. So there's like some of this where it's like obviously what numbers might be. But if someone has never seen a seven league before, they might be like, how do you even do this? So for seven league plots, we make something called a key next. This is just a key to help someone understand numbers. I always try to pick a spot that actual data on my thing that has different numbers involved. So I am going to grab, I'm going to use a highlighter to show you what I'm grabbing. I'm grabbing these three numbers right here. Okay? So I'm going to write down one, and then I have my stem, I have a four, and I have my stem, and then I have my zero. So then I say that stem four, stem zero means 40 home runs for Bonds, 41 home runs for me. And you know, it's for you guys, if you're still trying to understand, remember this way we're reading like this, and then for this side we're reading like that. Okay. Does anybody ever remember seeing this way to do like this at all? You've never seen it? And so this is it. I am also right now I'm kind of working on the assumption that you experience school normally. Did anybody must have a problem with 5 years ago? Right? You guys all have some gap in education. And teachers at that point were, because of COVID and hybrid learning and having a shorter school year, teachers started to make decisions about what were the really necessary things for you to learn. And a lot of it got pushed, especially in middle school, towards numerical and algebraic. So do you understand your decimals, fractions, things like that percent? Do you understand what X means and what rate of change means, right? Going back to that stuff, maybe algebra. And then things like volume and surface area and some of the stuff with statistics got a little bit lost in the shuffle. Okay? So these are a pain in the butt to make, aren't they? But is it something that shows us numbers in your organization? Like before, you had these two lists. If you just look at the numbers, you guys even had to take time to skim. But looking at the numbers, the only thing you right now you see is quantity, right? That Barry Bonds has more seasons than Babe Ruth. Okay. But now when we start to look at this, I mean, Barry Bonds is good, and they both have these big things at the 40s. But what does Barry Bonds have? He has a gap, doesn't he? And he's got this guy just hanging out by himself. And Babe has less, but he doesn't have any low ones, right? But he does have some guys in the 50s and 60s. Okay? All of them you notice right now like this. We also start at all raw data. Okay? So when I collect data in a Google sheet, that is raw data. And raw data is disorganized. And raw data is great data, good stuff, right? But you can't tell what's going on in certain parts of the mess with it. And that's why it's so spreadsheets are great, right? When they start to organize it, manipulate the data for yes. What are calculators built to? But sometimes even a simple communication of giving data to someone in this form helps them start to see better. Okay? All right. Very easy. All right. So now that we have these things, this is one way to display data. It has its own pros and cons, right? Everything's got pros and cons. So then let's do, and I'm trying to make sure I keep track of time because we will have to break this into two classes. We're done at 27. Okay, let's go to the next piece of graph paper, which also has two displays on it. Okay, and then I'm going to try to quickly do something on my screen so that I can show you where we're headed to next. Because now we're going to go to a graph that you guys definitely know, and it's called a histogram. We sometimes accidentally call it a bar graph, but there are bar graphs, but there's things that are definitely not bar graphs. So I'm going to grab this real quick. And I'm going to go to the end here. Yeah, I don't want A4, sorry. Yep, go add. And then, sure, saving sounds great. Sure, that's a great screenshot. Thanks so much. And now when I go down here and I say add media, hello? Oh, from a computer. Pictures. Where's my screenshot? Today. There it is. Open. Okay. Click to drop. Thanks for your patience. Okay, so now I have this thing. Well, a bar chart, aren't we used to the bars going up like the skyscrapers, right? Yeah. So we're going to take this thing. We're going to turn it, right? And then can you guys, and I'm going to just use a marker here to make it a little bit more interesting. I mean, can you imagine the bars now, right? So the benefit of bars or the histogram is now we have a number line, like an actual number line, and we have these bars, but guess what disappears? The actual data. We will no longer know that the lowest is 5 and the highest is 73. We'll know there's something in the single digits, but not something that is, we won't know like 73. Yeah, like we won't have the exact data, which is why sometimes you need more than one summary to help you really understand what's going on. Okay, so here we go. Oh, okay, so this was stem and leaves. So now we're going to make these things called histograms. And it's called a histogram because we have a number line. So you're looking for the piece of paper that has the two graphs, right? Is it just the flip of your first piece of paper? Yes. So it's a number line for the x-axis. And this is going to be quantitative or quantitative data. Okay, and that's all we need to write down today. And we're going real basic, real simple, just this is the way you would have it. So we're just going to use the edges of this graph to make that happen. So this bottom line, so I'm going to go back. Title, tick, tick, label, label, label. So when we draw, I want you to physically always draw an axis. If you're someone that likes a straight edge, I'll remind you to pick one of those up. So we're going to draw on this line on the bottom. You can put an arrowhead on the end. It is your x-axis. You can put another axis on this side. You don't have to call it the y-axis, but it does keep going. And so there you go. We're working in quadrant 1. Okay. Now the thing that we do need, and we're going to do Barry Bonds first. Okay, so we can put our title on here. Barry. HRs. And we are going to assume that this is actually 0 home runs, right? And we're just going to count by tens. So this literally is ticking off a ruler, ticking off an axis. So this is going to be 10, and this is going to be 20, and this is going to be 30, 40, 50, and we're going to go and we're going to mark off 80 because we don't have anything in the 80s, but that's where like the story ends. And these numbers represent, so now this is a label, home runs per season. And then on this side is just going to be a number line with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think going up to 7 is enough. And there's a lot of different things that could go on this other axis. It is the quantity, like how many seasons, like the number of seasons we had in that range. A lot of times we use the word frequency. And frequency is simply a word that means how many. And now the coolest thing about this, and you guys have to do kind of a flippy floppy back and forth, and I can put mine up to make it easier. Like we go and we look at Barry Bonds, how many seasons did he have in the zeros? He just had 1. So we go back here to this, and I can put mine up. So in the zeros, he had 1 season, and I draw that line down on the 10 line. So in this box is only between 0 and 9, bless you. So like the number 10, if we had him getting 10, the 10 would go into the next box over. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So now, so I'll just put mine up. So your next bar is going to be too high, right? He had 2 seasons in the teens. Now, I don't need to start at the bottom to draw that bar because I'm just going to start right here and go up and down and over. There's no space between bars. No space between bars. And then we'll go, I'm going back up here. So then we have a season with 3 and a season with 6. So 3 seasons in the 20s, 6 seasons in the 30s, 7 seasons in the 40s, none in the 50s, none in the 60s, and 1 season over here in the 70s. Bars are sometimes colored to make it easier to see. Sometimes I candy stripe, and I like to candy stripe in opposite directions. That's just me. Please don't, you don't need to color it in like a crazy person. You just want to make sure that it's visible to like the naked eye on your paper. And so I call this candy striping. Okay, so now a disadvantage of histograms is you can't put 2 histograms on the same grid, right? So histograms, they're all separated, which may or may not be okay. It depends what you're analyzing, right? So we're going to go and do Babe Ruth on the bottom, okay? And then that's probably where we're going to close for today. Sound like a plan? Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, I can scroll back up. We're going to start the next one, okay? And then I'll scroll back up. Okay, so let's go down to the bottom. Let's make our axes the same exact way, right? So it's easier to compare. So this axis we draw in the axis itself, and we're going to tick it off, starting at 0, 10, 20. And then we tick off our other axis. And this is called frequency, which is how many. How many seasons were in the 20s? How many seasons were in the 30s? And then I'm going to say to myself, title, tick, tick, label, label, label. Oops, don't have a title yet. This one's going to be Babe Ruth Home Runs. Now we know that Babe Ruth does not have as many bars. If you want to flip to the other side, I would maybe not look at the back-to-back one, but you could look at your one that is right up here to help you. Like the 20s is 2, the 30s is 2, the 40s is 7, right? Oops. Erase. The 40s is 7. I already forgot. Then 3 and then 1. And then once again, you can candy stripe if you want. And then I'm going to zoom out so we can see the whole page. Oops. Oh, wrong way. There you go. And so, once again, pros and cons. Pro, this is a little bit easier on the eyes, right, than all those numbers. Stems can go low to high, high to low, so sometimes that can be a little bit frustrating. Here, it's logical going from smallest to largest on the, from left to right, the way we read. You can't overlap them though, and that's kind of a disadvantage. But it is really easy on the eyes. We can still see that both of them have nice peaks. We can see that there's a gap here. So we get to a place in this part of our year where we learn how to look at data and then do a nice description in a small paragraph, okay, describing data. And there's an acronym for that, CSOX. And so we'll learn about that later, and its context and shape of the data, right? Is it uniform? Is it symmetric? Are there gaps? Are there things called outliers? Now, you guys have seen histograms before, right? Yeah, the only difference between a histogram and a bar graph is bar graphs are for categorical data. Like, hey, let's do dog, fish, hamsters, cats. Like, what are your pets at home, right? And those bars are separated.